Hey, everybody. Sharon Tinsley from the Alabama Broadcasters Association. I want to take the opportunity today to introduce you to Becky Robinson at the University of Alabama College of Communication and Information Sciences. Becky is the new head of the Alabama Scholastic Press Association, and she's also teaching a couple of kinds of journalism classes within the College of Communication. Becky, thank you for joining me today. We want to talk specifically in a little bit about recruiting students into colleges and universities in Alabama. But first, if you would tell us about the ASPA and how you got there, a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so the Alabama Scholastic Press Association, we call it ASPA. It essentially seeks to empower K through 12 media organizations. We typically focus a little more on high schools throughout the state of Alabama, but that can be anything from newspapers, journalism classes, yearbook is a really popular one, literary magazines, websites, broadcast. I just started, like you said. I have a bachelor's from the University of Alabama in studio art, and then I received my master's from journalism, also from UA. And I am currently teaching. I just started faculty full time, so I'm still kind of adjusting to that. But I used to be a communication specialist within the Division of Advancement here at UA, so I've kind of been all over campus and got a lot, going on.
Well, that's fantastic, though, because those different things that you've accomplished in such a short amount of time already have given you a good basis for the classes you're teaching and leading the ASPA. So that's great. What so far, what's been your favorite part of ASPA? I know you haven't been there that long, but what kind of interaction are you having with teachers, advisors, and students at the high school level?
Yeah, so we're kind of, rebuilding the program a little bit. There was a really good program in place in the, early mid 2000s. And then COVID kind of hit. We had some staff turnover. So for me, kind of the opportunity to rebuild and modernize a little bit of this program, that's been really exciting for me. We had a workshop in Florence recently. Dr. Butler Kane was incredible. He was so excited to, have us here. And just getting to meet some of the high school teachers who, maybe this was not the first thing that they wanted to do going into teaching high school. Some of them were probably, thrown, hey, you're going to do yearbook. So getting them excited, I think, has been a really fun part of, my first 2-3 months. But yeah.
So that means you were up in the Florence area. You have plans to do these workshops around the state?
Yeah, so in the past, they've done workshops in Florence, Mobile, Tuscaloosa, I believe. And going forward, I feel like there are kind of some gaps in the state, and we want to be sure that we have really reached all of the high schools that we can, and offer them whatever resources that we have available. So in the future, kind of starting next year, I'd really like to do, Huntsville is a great market. I'm from Huntsville, so I'm very familiar with that area. Birmingham, I know there's some great schools there, and Auburn, I think there's been some, kind of gaps in the eastern part of the state specifically. So I would really love to go to Auburn, that area, maybe Montgomery in the future. But we just want to cover as much as the state as we can and get into as many high schools as we can, and be excited to work with them and their students.
So if a broadcaster is aware of a really great program at a high school or a local two-year school that's teaching journalism, yearbook, any kind of video production or audio production, should they just reach out to you? What would you like that contact to look like?
Yeah, so I think broadcast especially is a really great resource that we have available. I think broadcast and local news stations are kind of largely the only hyper local news organizations that are still really thriving and still really expanding. I know a lot of newspapers locally have folded or they've been bought out by larger corporations. But broadcasting, I think, is really interesting and unique in that it's kind of an ever-present media in a lot of people's homes. Like when you're getting ready in the morning or, at dinner, you're watching the news. And even if you're not paying attention, it's still there and everyone is still very aware of broadcasting. So, because broadcasting can kind of cover these smaller local stories that are important to that area, they have a really good understanding of their community. The high schools, the middle schools, elementary, they're all aware that these news stations exist. And everybody wants to be on the news, like our fall festival, like, the local news came and we were on TV, and how exciting is that? So I think broadcast is a really great resource for ASPA specifically. If broadcast stations, know of any high schools locally or in the area or the county, you can reach out to me directly. My email is rdrobinson and the number 1 at ua.edu. ASPA is also, if you don't want to reach out to anyone that's specific, ASPA's email is aspa@ua.edu. And then we also have our website. There's so many ways you can reach out, and hopefully we will get it and we will respond and we will bring ASPA to you.
We'll make sure that we've got a link to the ASPA website and your email address and the ASPA email address in the body of this mass email that everybody's watching the video from today. So we'll make sure that that's there. So if you want to talk to Rebecca, you can easily email her from that. As you were talking about the importance of broadcasts in these communities and how people want to be on the news and they want to be on the radio, I do know that a lot of our radio stations around the state are working with the high schools, and in many cases have students helping them with sports broadcasts, football and baseball and basketball broadcasts. So there's already an interaction in these communities between our broadcasters and high schools, and we want to make them aware of the resource of ASPA and help bridge that gap to college to help these young folks decide, hey, I could have my own career in this business. And do you see ASPA in that role?
Yeah, absolutely. You were talking about the regional workshops. I had mentioned the one we had at Florence at UNA. The regional workshops are kind of great ways for high schools and high school advisors or teachers to kind of get their students into colleges. We typically hold them on college campuses. So we held the one in Florence at the University of North Alabama. And we also like to give these colleges kind of a platform to, show students what their schools have to offer. So at UNA, we had the student media. Some of the students from their student media came. They did a tour of their media center. So, if you're not thinking about college or potentially staying in the state of Alabama, I think ASPA and going to these workshops and, state convention, everyone loves state convention because there's, scholarships and prizes, and we all love that. But these smaller workshops, they really kind of get students in that area into the colleges in their communities that they may not feel are accessible to them. Growing up in Huntsville, like I wasn't really sure, like, hey, can I just walk onto UAH's campus? And you can to a degree. So we really want to encourage students to explore their options, especially in the state of Alabama, because I know Alabama gets a lot of slack, but we do have incredible programs. We have so many people, myself included, who are just really excited to help students and, to help them plan their futures and be as successful as they possibly can.
You said a lot of wonderful things about being on other college campuses, and I think that's a really important point that ASPA, it's not just a University of Alabama organization. You might be housed there, but you are truly working with the other colleges and universities in the state. And if somebody's watching from an area, you mentioned Auburn, and when you did, you were talking about Auburn high schools and Lee County high schools, but we've got broadcasters in that part of the state who have an affinity for Auburn University. So, and they have a great program there. So if you're in another part of the state outside of Tuscaloosa and you're working with a college or university and you want to help bring some high school students together, it's for one of these workshops. It sounds like you, Becky, would be very open to helping make that happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, we are housed at the University of Alabama. My office is in Reese Pfeiffer, but we are also a nonprofit. So we are not, I don't want to say loyal to UA, but we are
Right,
not strictly UA based.
right.
So we are happy to go to Auburn. We are happy to go to any smaller colleges. It doesn't have to be a major university. It can be a smaller two-year college, community college. As long as there's a media program there that is interested and excited about what their students are doing and needs some kind of guidance or help, we are happy to come to you. We would love to have you all come to us. Alabama has great resources, but we know that a lot of times smaller communities are overshadowed by larger schools like Alabama and Auburn. And, we definitely don't want that to happen or feel like that is the case. So
Well, this is wonderful. And, it's a real passion for us at the Broadcasters Association here in Alabama to help young students understand what a great industry we work in, what a wonderful business it is, and primarily because of the importance in the community. I mean, you get to serve a wonderful community role as a broadcaster. So help you. Thank you very much, Becky. There's my timer going off. It's the end of our conversation, but thank you, Becky, for helping explain what it is the ASPA does that can be part of our ongoing effort to educate young people about broadcasting and help get them into our business. So we appreciate that. We look forward to working with you in your new role.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.